I'm clean, okay? I wipe my ass. Anyway, we're watching this video, What Killed the Skylanders franchise. We watched it on stream when I was eating a brisket sandwich after I washed my hands, by the way, but didn't really digest the video.
Toys to life games,
This video is really low.
are one of the first things I think back to when someone mentions the mid-2010s. They were certainly—
Real quick, did anyone play Skylanders in here? I know we played it on stream, but I realized that not a lot of people did play the game. Nothing wrong with that, but I was very impressed that when I was doing my series on Skylanders, a lot of people were like, what is this game? It's like one of the best games ever. Dude, I had a comment of someone, they commented, oh my gosh, maybe he's in the stream right now, but someone commented, because I started off my 100% video saying, yo, I played this game when I was like what? How old was I? Like 8 years old, 12 years old, right? And the guy said, why are you saying this game is from your childhood? When I came out, I was 22. What? 22? Oh my God. I only heard about the game back in the day. I played Skylanders with my dad when I was like 6, played it with my, yeah. Sounds like we all had like a very similar experience, like playing the game when it was out. Did you guys remember when like you go to Toys R Us? There's like a shelf for toys. There's shelves for games. There's maybe like a Wii stand. And then like an entire palette of the wall is just Skylanders. Holy shit. I mean, this probably printed the money, dude. They were selling Skylanders for like 12 bucks a pop, right?
a product of their time. When games weren't all trying to be super ultra addicting 17 game modes, 100-hour long campaign experiences, and monetization was only starting to get optimized. And no game in this genre was as—
What is Disney Infinity? Lego Dimensions. Are these all Toys to Life games? I've never heard. Have you guys heard of this before? Skylanders is such a simple formula. Yeah, but dude, I feel like not even going into this video, I know we watched it before, but I feel like the downfall of Skylanders is that it's expensive. Like you buy the base game, which is already like what, like 60 bucks? Then you gotta buy Skylanders. You want 100% the game? You need a Skylander of every single element. And then they did all that stuff. I know you guys play Trap Wars, Swap Wars. I haven't seen those, but dude, you need like 200 bucks to finish the game, dog. Like now he's eating after not washing his hands. I didn't touch it. All right, my hands are clean.
everywhere as Skylanders. When these games were at their peak, everyone I knew had at least one of them, usually more. And for the longest time, it felt like the series was on top of the world. While it wasn't the first game to follow the Toys to Life formula, it was definitely the most—
Oh my God! Well, all right, let's just do a quick estimate how much this cost, right? Let's say you're buying every Skylander MSRP when it first came out. Each Skylander is like what? Let's say $10 to keep things simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. He has about 25 to 30 Skylanders per shelf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shelves, not including the top. 8 times 25. Dude, that's like what, 200 Dude, this is like a $2,000, $3,000 collection, not including how much the value went up over time or went down over time. This is insane. Holy shit. It gets expensive, sure, but it's so worth it. It's a game you can play on repeat forever. Yeah, but it's dead now. You could, but it's like, who wants to play Sky? Like, I think it's fun to play with friends, but dude, fuck, man, it's just expensive. I don't ever think Skylanders is gonna come out. I don't think so. Am I gonna play Giants for the channel? Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, and they're not even including the limited edition ones. The limited edition ones are like a couple hundred, right?
Successful. As of 2020, since the first game released in 2011, the series has made over $3.5 billion and sits comfortably as—
What? That's it?
The series has made over $3.5 billion.
I thought he said million. I'm like, 3.5 million? That's not a lot at all. $3.5 billion.
And sits comfortably as one of the most successful game franchises of all time. To
Oh, wow, I didn't
compare,
know that.
that was more than the entire
Wait.
success—
More popular than Legend of Zelda, Super Smash Bros. At the time. I wonder how much this list has changed though.
successful game franchises of all time. To compare, that was more than the entire Zelda series, Minecraft, and Fortnite. This is no—
What even is Skylanders? So I gotta explain, right? So basically, it's a game. You're playing the game. You put it in your thing, and then I don't have a portal, but basically, you have a USB device that you plug into your Xbox or your PlayStation or your Wii, and there's a portal. I don't have the portal, but here's my portal, High Star Terraria. And then with the portal, you could buy a Skylander. They came with 3 Skylanders, depending on which version you bought, but you could buy a Skylander in shop, which is literally just a toy, and you would put the toy on the portal, and it would come to life in game like this. Like you could play it. Like for example, you put the Spyro toy on the portal, comes to life in game, and then you could level up your fella. You can build a collection. Like I have my Beyblade collection here, but like you could build a Skylanders collection. What was so cool was that there was like, dude, there were so many different Skylanders, different elements, different attacks, and each Skylander had their own special like A attack, B attack, and then you could specialize in each path. So not only could you, like, let's say pick out Spyro and let's say you use his fireball attack, but then let's say you like his alternative playstyle, then you could go ahead and have one Spyro that does the A attack, which is the fireball attack, and then you could buy another Spyro that does the B attack, which is the horned, like, ram attack. That's why this game made so much money, because let's say you really like the game, you really like the original 3, you like Spyro. I don't have Trigger Happy and Gil Grunt near me, but like, let's say you have 3 Skylanders you really like. Well, now you want to get the other ones, so then you go to the shop. What's $12? You spend $12, you buy a Skylander, you go home, you play it, you max out the character, right? Well, then now you're done that character. Maybe you need another element. There's different elements in the game. So like, it's like this loop. So let's say you play the first game and you collect every single unique Skylander. You have went from spending $60 on the base game and on the base Skylanders to well over a few hundred collecting everything. And then they do another game, Skylander Giants. They introduced a brand new Skylander, Giant Skylanders. And then there's like, it just keeps going and going and going. Every single generation of game that they do, they have like a unique separate like gimmick or twist that they do. And then eventually it died in like 2016 with Imaginators. I don't remember, but that's why they made that. That's why I think they made so much money. But I also think that's why it was so, I wouldn't say predatory, but like, I think that's why it died, because you need so much money to get into the game. So
doubt because of its unique business model.
This is what I'm talking about. Look at it. You're at Toys R Us. You walk down the aisle, look at it. Like I remember this. Going to Toys R Us, I'm chewing on a couple of crayons. I walk into any section, you just see this entire wave. Skylanders. The games are in the middle. Then you go on the left and the right, it's individual Skylanders, the old games, the new games.
Model. The plastic figures that allow the player to use more characters. There were about 30 million Skylanders purchased throughout its time on the market, on top of game sales. For many, Skylanders serves as a remnant of nostalgia. I even still have some figures myself. But like any pioneer of its industry, Skylanders hit its peak a long time ago.
2016,
While at its peak, they were putting out a game every year, selling toys, clothes, plushies, and even having 8 mobile games.
I never played the mobile games. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Do you guys think it's worth it? I don't know if I'm going to play it. They look kind of ass. Yeah, it's a cool concept. Yeah, it's a really cool concept. It was I would say like the one that really pioneered the Toys to Life genre for a little bit. And then, we don't see any more Toys to Life games. At least I can't think of any off the top of my head.
At least over the years, it's in a pretty dead
state. The mobile
right
games
now.
were mid. Yeah, I'm not going to be playing them. I think I'm just going to focus on the main franchise as I'm going through, like doing my series and whatnot. Amiibos count? I never had an Amiibo. Yeah. Did people goon to them? Was that a thing? Right? Like they get like a goon jar and then they like fill up. I'm gonna keep playing the video.
There hasn't been a new main series game since 2016, with the IP becoming more and more forgotten since then. But before we can talk about Skylanders, we have to talk about the game series that led to its creation.
Spyro.
The PS1 Spyro games are a series of platformers.
Yeah,
by
I never played
Games.
Spyro.
They followed a similar collectathon style to other popular games of the time, like Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and Rayman 2. The games were obviously quite successful, as Spyro remains as an icon of the PS1 to this.
Yeah, so like I know some people that got into Skylanders knew it from Spyro. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know any of his games. I feel like the equivalent of what they did with Spyro to Skylanders is kind of like if they made a brand new, okay, I can't think of a game off the top of my head. Let's say they made a Terraria spinoff, Earthraria, and the guide NPC was the main character, but then they introduced a brand new slew of unique people to Earthraria. And then the second game would be only about Earthraria and all of its unique characters, and the guide is no longer there. That's kind of what they did with Spyro. That's like how I see it.
The IP changed hands a number of times, until landing on Activision in 2008. Activision brought in development company Toys for Bob. Began pre-planning
we see it in the intro of the videos.
Series. While they threw around ideas of a darker, more serious take on Spyro, they ultimately chose to go with a new game in a new world, that being Spyro's Kingdom. The idea was that you could use toys to select characters in the game, and Spyro would give you missions. Toys for Bob found some serious potential in the demo they worked on, so they asked Activision for more time and money to make a more complete experience. Activision provided more money to make the toys, and Toys for Bob reworked the game into Skylanders: Spyro's Adventure. Their investment paid off tremendously.
Jeez! Global game comparisons. Spyro's Adventure is the second one. Giants outperformed it. Oh my gosh, dude. How many units? They sold the most units on the Wii. That's crazy to think about. But then I guess it kind of makes sense in the idea of people that were on the Wii already played the original Spyro's Adventure, but also if you're playing it on the Wii, you're probably playing it with like your mom and dad or like a brother, right? And then the Wii is more of the gaming with family console. It came out for the Wii first. Oh, okay. That's a big one. I just thought of it as, yo, quick digression. Why the hell was the boss harder on the Wii? It's way easier on PS3 and Xbox.
The premise followed the same core concept. You put the toys in an accessory called the Portal of Power, and you could watch your character be summoned into the world of the game. A lot of the appeal comes from the collecting of different playable characters,
crazy collection,
with each character having a unique and identifiable design. For about $8, you get a card and a playable
Pop Fizz was the GOAT. Oh my, talking about crazy Skylanders, Pop Fizz was the GOAT. Was this from Giants? The GOAT. So cool. Throw potions, drink a potion, you become that big beast mammoth thing. Oh my god.
Skylander. And with a whole slew of characters to collect, it's no surprise that the real success came from the accessories, which would quickly pile up and rake in more and more money. As you might have guessed, the game was designed for, and sold best on, the Nintendo Wii, as the gimmick of the portal worked best on a system with players that are more accepting of accessories. Not to mention the more—
Oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you need the Portal of Power, which is an accessory. Thinking about accessories on Xbox and PlayStation, you didn't really have those, right? I can't imagine that. The best port for the first one was Giants Portal. I remember playing Pokepark 2. Oh, I remember the Pokepark 2.
Worked best on a system with players that are—
Also, peep it, I got sugar cookies. I'm gonna eat one.
More accepting of accessories. Not to mention the more casual and younger player base. The gameplay was pretty typical for the time. It's a standard beat 'em up where you fight enemies as you walk through a level. The need for more Skylanders came from these elemental doors that you can open to get more treasure and fully experience the game. While you could play through the whole game with the starter set—
You had a lot of friends that had a lot of the Spyro things. Dude, when I was a kid, there was— don't go killing the diet. I'm not on a diet. I had a friend that was in middle school. Dude, he had every fucking Skylander. Every single one. This is when Spyro's Adventure first came out. He literally bought every single one. Back then, what is that? $8 a Skylander. There's about, let's say like 50 Skylanders. Dude, his collection was like $400. $400 in 2008. You could like buy a Bugatti with that. I don't know why his mom spent so much. Maybe it's a good mom. I would never do that for my kid, bro. $400 on a bunch of toys for one video game. Maybe I will do it. Who knows? Who knows? But like, if I was a kid and Skylanders came out, I'd be fucking pissed. I'd be so mad.
Lives. Instead, when a Skylander runs out of health, you're unable to use it again until the level gets completed, or when they're ready to fight again. While most hardcore Spyro fans weren't fans of the new, more childish spin-off, Spyro's Adventure was a massive critical success, and because of its business model, it did even better commercially. Activision and Toys for Bob single-handedly built a toy empire.
Jeez,
and having captured lightning in a bottle, it was only a matter of time until they released a follow-up. Skylanders Giants was released the very next year.
Okay, so this is where my knowledge of Skylanders kind of diverts. I only really know Spyro's Adventure. I was around for Giants, but I think I was like in 7th grade at the time. I was playing Buried, Black Ops 3. Now, I don't think I really played Giants, but I don't really remember.
Much like the tagline suggests, Skylanders Giants was the first game, but big. These bigger characters, the Giants, were needed for the new Feats of Strength sections, meaning you'd need to collect all of them to fully experience the game. But they also released more regular figures to add to the collection, and because the bigger figures were more expensive. There's quite a few creative additions here. While they weren't a massive part of the game, I absolutely loved the Skystones minigames. You basically get these character cards as you play through the game, and you can play this tic-tac-toe style turn-based game to cover more and more of the board space.
Man?
Unfortunately, it was only ever in 2 games. Giants, and the 3DS version of Trap Team.
Ew, what is that Skylander? What is that? The one on Trap Team? It looks like a inflated condom.
And then there's Willikin Village, a town almost completely consisting of cardboard cutouts. Then when you flip the switches, the environment around you comes to life, much like the Skylanders toys themselves. Speaking of, once again, the characters here are great, like the mission where you randomly have to—
What the what is this? Is this from Skylanders Giants? Maybe I should do my playthrough sometime sooner. Right? That sounds really cool. That was Air Master. I don't know what an Air Master is, bro. I don't know what that is. This looks insane. This looks really good.
Battle a rapping bot that actually spits bars. Something Giants really had going for it was that all Spyro's Adventure Skylanders worked with the sequel. So if you already had a collection from playing the first game, then you'll obviously be inclined to buy the sequel to get—
Okay. So here's where I kind of disagree on Skylanders, right? That's really cool, right? You can use your old toys on the new toys. The problem is, well, how do they want you to buy more toys if you already have the old toys? They make newer versions of the toys, which suck, in my opinion. That's how I saw it as a kid. I was like, I gotta buy the new versions now. And what also sucks is that if you had a Max Skylander on the original, if you bring it over to the new one, it's weaker. So they're really pushing you to buy that, you know, that extra new toy, even if it's fundamentally the same Skylander. I know there's like a couple of new things that are with the new, I think called series formats, or like the new releases of them. I don't know what they call it. I don't know the terminology, but still it like sucked, because then it's like, if you spend $500 on the first original collection, well, now they're all technically weaker for the next one. Still a cool collection. New versions have new abilities, yeah, but still, it's like, yeah, you got new abilities, but as a kid, right? Like speaking from it as a perspective as a kid that does not have money, $10 is a lot of cash, right? You're asking your parents for $10. That's a lot. And I feel like that's where it's like, well, now I got to get this new one. And that, yeah, no, that's just kind of how I see it. I feel like if you did buy a newer Skylander, though, like a completely new one, that's completely different. But, you know, I understand the creative decisions that they took.
Have at this point, since 2013 was also the year Disney Infinity released. So people already having a Skylanders collection helped them make their decision to buy another Skylanders game. And people did, as it ended up not only outselling the original game, but it also became the best-selling video game of all time.
Wow, so they had Disney Infinity try to copy them, but because people already had Skylanders and you could use them on their new game, they just kept buying. Wow, that's crazy, dude.
Force the next year, and it did comparably well, with it getting more or less sales depending on who you ask. Despite taking a while to get the concept off the ground, I imagine the development process for Skylanders was pretty straightforward. All you need is to come up with a new toy gimmick and design some new levels around them, with the biggest challenge involved being the strict deadline. The standout feature here comes with the Swap Force character, which can be split in half to create multi-elemental characters.
I think this is the coolest gimmick. Swap Force, 2 Skylanders into 1. That was my favorite one. I didn't play this game. I knew they added the jump button, but I think when we replay, or when we play the other Skylanders, I think this is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. This one, and I mean, I'm looking forward to Giants, but I'm looking forward to this one and the Trap Force one.
But that wouldn't really matter if the levels weren't good. But overall, I'd say they might even be a step up from Giants. No rapping robots here, sadly. Swap Force was the first game that included jumping. Before this point, characters would have to use bounce pads. While it's funny that a spin-off of a platformer didn't have jumping until the third installment, it also added a lot more possibilities regarding obstacles. Unsurprisingly, the game once again did very well, blowing Giants out of the park in terms of gameplay and becoming one of the most beloved games in the series.
Yeah, a lot of you guys told me that Swap Force is your favorite too.
This is where the series peaked. Never again would it be so prevalent or beloved in mainstream culture. Trap Team is an interesting turning point. I thought people liked Trap Team, as this one marks the first noticeable decline in sales the games received. While it still did pretty well, it was clear to see that the formula may be getting stale to some. The new feature is the traps, which let you get antagonists like the Chompy Mage or even Chaos on your team. The new toys to buy this time are the Trap Masters, as the elemental gates were reworked. This means that it doesn't really matter if you had a big collection before this, since the literal paywalls are everywhere, and you need the new toys to open them. Understandably, this put off a lot of so
you buy the trap crystal and you trap you trap enemies with it? I don't understand how that works. Do you have to like release them out of the crystal to keep, can you reuse them? I don't get it. It was good but too expensive. I mean, it looks expensive. Like all these, I mean, every generation you're getting like what? Boom, 500 500 more stuff, right?
Time fans from really appreciating it because of its
Yo, we gotta
increase
wrap
in
up this video. Summer
corporatism
Games
and
Fest is
more
in 5
noticeable
minutes.
business practices, even more than the games where you literally have to buy figures to experience it as intended, with some even pointing to it as the death of the series, and it never would reach the heights of years earlier. Superchargers was their attempt to get back on track.
I thought this is how the game died. Fucking Skylanders Hot Wheels, right? I thought this was when they were like, yeah, we're completely, because like the other games are like, you're still like an action adventure game. This one for me was like, we're making it a racing game now. I don't know, like for me, the game died at here. Like I was still interested in Trap Team. This one was racing. I don't like cars, dog. Especially as a kid. I didn't even know what a Honda Civic was until 3 years ago.
Driving car. However, this attempt at adding more appeal led to a much greater decrease in sales numbers. There could be a number of reasons for this. Personally, I had no interest in the cars, but another problem could be the slight change in monetization. After Swap Force, individual Skylanders figures went from about $8 to $14. This price increase makes collecting the characters a lot less accessible. Dude, that's literally double the price. Kneecapping the amount of accessibility the games had, as parents would be less willing to buy all the toys. And it definitely doesn't help that these toys and games were released yearly. Once you build a big enough collection, you don't really need to buy more, especially now that they're at a higher price point. This could be explaining the heavy reliance on gimmicks, as otherwise they wouldn't have a reason to buy the new toys.
Dude, what the? I mean, like, look, it's a Skylanders helicopter. Why would you want? I feel like, at least with the other toys, it's like you're still getting Skylanders, but these ones are like, you're literally buying a completely different toy that doesn't have a Skylander in it. Like, yeah, it's for a Skylander, but like, that's a helicopter. That's straight up a helicopter.
The release of Skylanders Imaginators seems
I've
to
never
have
heard
been
of this
the
game before.
beginning of the end. While critically, the game did about as well as other entries, the sales numbers hit an all-time low, with the game only selling 66,000 copies in the first month. Once again, this could be due to the more expensive figures, or maybe the character customization wasn't as good of a draw as the developers had hoped. Even with the poor sales numbers, Activision continued to support the game for a few years, even releasing a port to the Switch as it launched. Another possibility could be that the game was not released on the Wii, but the Wii U instead. A console pretty infamously
Alright, I mean, you're releasing it on the Wii U. What did you expect?
For not selling well. The next year, there was no new Skylanders game. But even without any new games, Activision still had some tricks up their sleeve to keep the franchise kicking for just a bit longer. Shortly after Imaginators was released, the first episode of Skylanders Academy premiered.
Never watched it.
It would go on air for nearly 2 years, coming to a close in September 2018. 2020 saw the release of Skylanders Ring of Heroes, a turn-based mobile game, different from the normal formula, and in my opinion, worse. It was shut down in February 2022, but made a comeback on Android, and it's still on the Play Store today. But besides that game, which isn't even on iOS, there hasn't been anything public going on in relation to Skylanders. Maybe the devs couldn't come up with a good gimmick, or maybe players got tired of the same game released every year. For a good while, more recently they've been developing games for the Call of Duty series. Kotick also threw around the possibility of another game someday, but chances are they wouldn't be using Toys to Life, unless they want to sink a ton of money into setting up a supply chain just to make more toys for a game that could very well be a massive loss.
I don't know, I think another thing to consider is like toys in general have been dying for like a really long time. Like there's so many kids now that don't want toys, they just want an iPad, Roblox all day, right? I feel like that's something to consider. And also, of course, I truly do believe the Wii was like a one-of-a-kind console that came out back then, dude. That was such a good console. Oh my god, family party games. But yeah, I don't know, it's a shame that Skylanders died. I did hear that they're doing like a game preservation thing for Xbox. I think it's like I don't know what it is, but like it's something that they're doing. But yeah, it's still really cool that we're playing Spyro's Adventure though. Probably should start Giant soon.